People First podcast is a show presented by people with learning disabilities for our friends and community. We talk about issues that are important to us and interview interesting guests to find out new information. This is our way to make a difference.
We come to the People First podcast. Today we are speaking to Julie, who is bringing us to a take about a breast screen. We decided this would be an important thing to take about on the podcast after discussing it in the improvised meeting group. Our co-work Lindsay chairs those meetings, and we are happy to have Lindsay join us of this interview as well.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Question 1. Could you explain your job role, please?
Yeah. So my name is Julie and I work for Pennine Breast Screening based in Bradford, and we invite all the ladies of the right age in the Bradford, Keighley and Craven areas for breast screening once every 3 years. My job is I'm a radiographer, and I've done that for many years, and then I've specialised in women's health, and I get out into the community and talk to groups like Keighley People First, trying to make them more aware of how to lead healthier lives and to detect signs of disease early.
Why is breast screening important?
Okay, so what breast screening does, and all cancer screening programs, they detect cancer very early. So while it's very small, we are able to have better chances of treating it. So finding something early is good. And what I say to people is, you know yourself, if you're not feeling good, you would tell somebody, and they would hopefully get you to a doctor or maybe explain something to yourselves so that you know it's okay. But with any sort of sickness inside the body, sometimes we need to have tests, and breast screening is one of them. But the nice thing about breast screening, or the funny thing about breast screening, is we want you to go while you feel well. So sometimes people think that's a silly thing to do, but it's really important, because then if you're well and there is something really small inside that we can fix, then we'll find it while we've got most chance of fixing it.
Question 3. How regularly should you get your breast screen, and weigh that after?
So for a woman, because unfortunately breast cancer mostly affects women as they get older, but some men do get it, and men have other bits of their body that they need to check once a month as well. But that's a different podcast. What we offer is for people age 50 and upwards, we offer them a mammogram for a breast screening once every 3 years. But for everybody, we ask them to check their breasts once a month so that they get to know what's normal for them. So that would be for guys too. And it's good for them to know what's normal about their chests, just like it's good for girls to know what's normal for their chests. And if we do this once a month, then you'll notice something is a bit different, and then you can talk to somebody about it.
Who is eligible of breast screening?
So that's good. So at the moment, we invite women only, and we invite them once before they are 53, and then we invite them every 3 years until they're about 70. After that, if they would like to have breast screening and a mammogram, they can come, just ring us and make an appointment once every 3 years. And this is the same all over the United Kingdom, not just here in Keighley, Bradford and Craven.
What are the benefits of breast screening?
So we would maybe invite 50 women every day for breast screening, and they would all be ideally well women. Some maybe have got a symptom that they have been too shy to share with somebody about, and so when they get our invite, it gives them an opportunity to come along, though we wished they had gone to their doctor first and not waited for breast screening. So when a woman or any person has a screening and they feel well, then most of the time we don't find anything wrong, but sometimes we might find something wrong, but it's so small that the person won't know they have it. And that's the benefit, that we find something that maybe would do with some treatment, probably 2 or 3 years before that person had any physical symptoms themselves. So what is it? I suppose it's like winning the race before you've even had to run it.
What happens when I attend a breast screen?
Right, so that's a good question, because we have mobile units, and also we have a unit at St. Luke's Hospital in Bradford. Either way, you make an appointment. Sometimes you ring in and make an appointment that suits you. Sometimes we send you an appointment, which might mean that if somebody needed some extra time, then they would be invited and at a set time so that we have longer to invite to x-ray them. So you get an invite, and on that letter it would suggest you wear top and bottom, so a t-shirt and trousers or a skirt, and then you'll get checked your name, your address and your date of birth. And that's the same everywhere you go nowadays. Then you get shown into a little waiting room where you take off the top half of your clothes, because it is your chest we want to x-ray, and you will put something around your shoulders to keep yourself covered. Then you're invited into the x-ray room, and they're all ladies on board these units. You're invited into the x-ray room, and the big x-ray machine is there, and you get 2 pictures of each breast taken. So it is a bit uncomfortable. Most people say it's a tight squeeze, but not too bad. Each squeeze only lasts about 5 minutes. And why do we need to do the squeeze? Well, breast tissue is a very soft part of the body, and so when we squash it, what it does is spread the breast tissue out so we can see what's happening. Now, it's not flat as a pancake, as lots of people like to make jokes about. It could be quite thick, and it just depends on you and your own size as to what we do. But you just have to say, I don't like this, or that's okay, and within 5 seconds it'll be finished. And we take 2 pictures of each breast, and after that then you get dressed and you leave the unit, and then you will get a letter in the post within about a week or 2 weeks telling you your results.
Can you bring support to your appointment if you don't want to come on your own?
That's right. If you don't want to come on your own, you're very welcome to come with somebody. So they would bring you to the unit, and they would help you with the identification. That's saying your name and address and date of birth. And then they can stay with you. Now, when you actually have an x-ray, and I don't know if any of you have had an x-ray in the past, but everybody gets told to leave the room while the x-rays are on. And sometimes this is what happens. sometimes the person with you can stand behind the control panel as well. So they're in the room, but we don't really want them standing right beside you. Or they might be just outside the door while they take the x-ray. So yes, you can. And I think maybe it's a good idea if you're making an appointment that you would say, I will be bringing a support worker with me or somebody else, and I would like them with me as much as possible, please. For the health professional, for the radiographers, that's really useful because that, Daniel and Lindsay here with me today, you're well able to tell me if something's not right, but some people are a bit shy and they don't explain, and a support worker would be able to read the sign language better than I can and explain to me, so that the health professional is better able to help you complete the examination.
What is breast awareness and how can we be more breast aware?
Brilliant. Right. Breast and chest aware means knowing what's normal for your chest or your breast. So I say to people, I said, do you wash or shower occasionally? And everybody has a little laugh. And then I say, do you put soap on your hands? And when you're in the shower, just give your chest, under your armpit, and around the bottom of your neck a good rub so that you get to know what it feels like on a daily basis. So, if we're feeling our chests once every day, we're not going to notice any changes really. So what we say to you is pick a day, maybe your birthday, and just check on that day every month, have a really good feel and think, right, this is the day I do my check. Everything feels the same as last month, so I'm good. Some people don't like to touch their chests or their breasts. So then we say, right, you need to look. And I don't know, have you ever gone into a shop and picked a cake? Lindsay's smiling. You make it look and you want to know how pretty it looks, don't you? And you hopefully if it looks pretty, it'll taste good. So what you do is you get to know how good looking your chest is. And by doing that, you have to stand in front of a mirror. You've got to take the top half of your t-shirts off, take your bra off, and you raise your hands above your head and you lower them, and then you turn to your side and you raise your hands and lower them again, and then turn the other way, because you've got 3 different sides of your boobs to look at. Then if you've got very big boobs, sometimes you have to lift them up and look at them as well. And what you want to know is, just looking at them, do they look the same as they did last month? Or is there something a bit different about them? And I think maybe you'll be able to be sent some links or pictures in this podcast, which you can then see. And I have a lovely set of dozen lemons that show all the different signs that you would look for. But the easy way is know what's normal for you, and if it's different, get it checked out.
What should I do if I notice a change or lump in my breast?
Right, so good. We're not just looking for lumps, we're looking for changes, and that could be a discharge or some crinkly in the skin, maybe a bit of thickness in the skin, something that's different. And the first thing you do is you got to speak to a trusted other person. So that might be a parent or a carer or a health professional, and your GP is where you need to be quite quickly. Usually, when you get through to the GP and say, I have a new change, something new in my breast, and I think a guy would have to say breast as well. Saying his chest wouldn't be good enough. He'd have to say his chest. And then they would be seen within a day or two by the doctor, and then they would be referred to the local breast clinic, which in the Keighley and Craven area is likely to be Airedale Hospital. If you were in Bradford, it would be probably St. Luke's. But you have a choice. Sometimes people don't like going to one hospital. They can say, I want to go to a different one. And that would happen within 2 weeks. And we don't want you to get worried about the speed, because sometimes we have to wait so long for appointments, and then suddenly you've got a doctor's appointment within 2 days and a hospital appointment within a fortnight. But that's good, because the system is set up to get people seen, because we don't want you to worry for a long time. We want to be able to do some tests and make sure that everything's okay.
What is your favourite part about work as a health promotion specialist?
My favourite part about the job is that I really think the service we offer is brilliant, and it's very good. And sharing this information with people who might be a bit scared of their own bodies and what's happening with them. But for most people, they come for breast screening and they get reassured that everything's okay, and that's good. For the people who find out they need some more tests or an operation or treatment, it's brilliant that we've got it while it's really small, and therefore we have a much better chance of treating it. And nowadays, cancer is, well, it's still a bit scary, but people live for many years with cancer. It's like any disease sometimes, that you just have to keep taking tablets, and maybe just not able to do all of the things you used to do. But hopefully we can still keep you going for a long time. And that's the nice thing. I'm going to add, my sad part is that so many people, especially from shy groups or maybe more traditional folk, where they think that cancer is a death sentence, and we don't believe that anymore. We want people to come along and to be checked. So if you know somebody who's a bit shy about their body, or maybe some carers are a bit shy about getting their cared for people to come along for tests, don't be scared. Come along and get reassurance that everything's all right.
That is all we have a time of today on the show. We hope that shared the important forecast can help people safe and healthy in our community. Thank you, Julie, for coming on the show and talking to us. Do you have anything else to add before we sign off?
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much for that opportunity. I would lead each and every one of you listening today, or tomorrow, or next week, to speak to somebody else and tell them what you've learnt today about it's okay to check, to know you're normal, and if something's not right, get it checked out by a health professional.
Thank you very much.
Remember to like, share, and follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find it by searching for the Paper First podcast. Thanks for listening.